Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Howdy, everybody. This is Jared Sterrett, and you're listening to KZCC LP 106.1 Conroe and KZCW LP 104.5 in Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Welcome to Veterans Air, the Veterans Hour. Your source for news, talk, and uncensored commentary on your Lone Star Community Radio. I'm Douglas B., your host, and you can listen to us live the first Tuesday of every month on Conroe's radio station, FM 106.1 and 104.5, Facebook Live, YouTube, SoundCloud, Our City TV, and wherever you get your fine podcasts. As always, I'm going to do a little housekeeping before I start the show today. You can contact Veterans Air through our website, www.VeteransAir.us. You can leave us a message, you can send us an email, or better yet, you can text us on our Google phone at 936-344-3083. I have a shout out first. I want to shout out to my daughter and to Dangerous Dan, who are currently in Disneyland without me. So I'm going to be feeding on that all year long. So today's show, since it is New Year's, we're going to talk about 2022 and the important milestones, our achievements and our failures as a society. I think it's important to look back on last year before you start your new year, so you're not carrying old luggage with you. New Year's is a great holiday. It's a great time. It allows everyone a second chance. So I want to make sure that you use yours by telling you what happened in the past. Little news bits that you may have missed in your daily struggles. January 1st in 2022 saw the state funeral in Cape Town, South Africa for anti-apartheid leader Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The Archbishop taught an entire generation what peaceful protest and anti-racism was all about. And then they promptly forgot everything that he taught them. On January 2nd, U.S. epidemiologist, see, I researched how to say that word there, Dick, just for the show. Epidemiologist Dr. Anthony Fauci said focus should be on hospitalizations, not case numbers, amid a huge surge of the Omicron COVID-19 cases. Cases are up 202%, hospitalizations up 30% in the U.S. on January 2nd of last year. The question is, why did we listen to him in the first place? January 7th, there was the first successful transplant of a pig's heart into a human when genetically modified pig's heart was inserted into a 53-year-old man in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, this proved for the first time that Christie was right. All men are pigs. James Webb Telescope entered orbit. It's a wonderful telescope. It is rivaled only by General McNabb's Canon camera. What else happened in January? Well, the three defendants in the murder of Arbery, I'm going to mispronounce this, Ahmaud Arbery, were sentenced to life in prison. Travis and Greg McMichael were sentenced to life without parole, while William Bryan was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. I think justice was served. Now, in February, a lot of things happened. In February, at age 44, Tom Brady, regarded as the greatest NFL quarterback of all time, announced his retirement after a 22-year career and a record 7 Super Bowl titles with the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, want to bet? Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson declares a state of emergency over a trucker protest against COVID vaccine mandates on the U.S.-Canadian border. Do you all remember this? This was the big thing. The truckers did a demonstration, took over the bridge between United States of America and Canada. They were rousted out of there. They went to the capital city and held a demonstration for weeks and weeks. People were giving them gas for their generators and cooking them food, the whole 9 yards. And then the government shut them down. That's right. Took all their money out of their bank accounts, declared them terrorists, shut them down. Good job, Canada. Welcome to Canada. Any resemblance to a free society is purely coincidental. Now, I'm going to bring this up. On February 13th, the Super Bowl was played at the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. The Los Angeles Rams beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. And I bring that up because I thought we weren't allowed to watch the NFL football any longer. I remember some sort of boycott going on to not watch NFL. It doesn't matter. I haven't watched NFL in, more than a decade. I don't own the teams. They're not making me any money. I can find better things to do with my time. Now, on February 14th of last year, Valentine's Day, it was released that the mega drought affecting the American Southwest was being considered the worst in 1,200 years, according to scientists. The worst drought in 1,200 years, and we're sitting in the middle of it. I'm so glad scientists had decided to tell us that, because I would have never known. Yeah, my comment for that is no shinola, Sherlock. Just come and look at my dead trees. Dick, you proud of me? I actually substituted a word in there. Dick saying, I don't believe it. On February 24th of last year, Russian leader Vladimir Putin announces the start of special military operations in the Ukraine to demilitarize the country moments before Russia launches a full-scale pre-dawn invasion by land, air, and sea, with bombings in several cities amid international condemnation. That's when the war started. Russia and the Ukraine. Stop and think of this for a second. Russia is invading other countries, and we have Uncle Joe as commander-in-chief. This is not going to end well. And as the year progresses, we'll see that it doesn't. It amazes me that people are amazed that Russia is invading the Ukraine. Why wouldn't they? The Ukraine is very rich in resources. It's very rich agricultural-wise. And it's got a bunch of money. This is evident by the amount of money they paid Biden Hunter, or Hunter Biden. It's Hunter Biden. So if they have all these resources and they have all this money, why do they need our money? Now, in March of 2022, the most important event that I have happening there was that I turned 58. I survived 58 years traveling around the sun. I think that's an amazing fact. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you I'm actually 6. And Dick, just so you know, once you're married as long as I have been, you're going to be 6 too. I guarantee it. And I want you to call me when your wife says that you're a 6-year-old. Now, as I get older, I find that my point of view is changing. It's either my point of view is changing or my tolerance for stupidity grows less and less. Being an older man that I am, when a task arises, an obstacle arises, my body says, it's not a problem. I can handle that. And my brain says, try it and die, fat boy. As we age, we slow down. As we slow down, we break down. While your physical body may be breaking down on you, never let your brain break down. Always exercise it every day. Now, on March 1st, the DC comic franchise and the DC films released Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. It was directed and written by Matt Reeves, and it premiered open in New York. Why is this important, you ask me? Well, I bring that up because I'm just saying that well, I'm not saying that I'm Batman. I'm not. But have you ever noticed that you never see me and any other billionaire, philanthropist, playboy in the same room? Think about that. Yep, could be. Also, on the 1st of March, President Joe Biden says Vladimir Putin has badly miscalculated by invading the Ukraine in his State of the Union address. Well, Vlad hears Uncle Joe and Vlad don't care. See, that's what I think a big miscalculation is in our concerns with Russia. Russia doesn't care. Doesn't care what we do, doesn't care what we say. He's the other big guy with a big stick on the block. Us, China, and him. He just don't care. Vlad just don't care. Now, last year saw inflation starting to get out of hand. If you didn't know, we've always had inflation. Always. Inflation runs usually, or has been running, somewhere between 1 and 2.5%, 2.9%. Normally. Last year, inflation got out of hand. And it's not getting any better. But to help this, the Federal Reserve on March 16th raised interest rates for the first time since 2018 by 1/4 point, hoping to help ease the rising price of inflation. Yeah, that hasn't worked out so well so far. Now, there was a big, huge to-do, another thing to divide the country when, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, and I don't mean to, No disrespect intended. Ketanji Brown Jackson started the Supreme Court confirmation hearings. Now, Justice Jackson, during her confirmation hearings, she answered a lot of questions. And I watched this because I'm concerned with the direction of politics and the importance of the United States Supreme Court in these politics. So, Justice Jackson, it seemed that her qualifications to be a Supreme Court justice was that she was black, may or may not be female, and isn't a biologist. That's a problem for me. If you're going to sit on the highest court in the land, then you better know the Constitution inside and out. Because you need to understand what the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court doesn't make law. The Supreme Court doesn't set policy. The Supreme Court doesn't decide what's right or wrong. The Supreme Court doesn't dispense justice. That's not its function. Its function is to decide whether any law written is constitutional or not constitutional. Its job, its function is to determine whether or not any citizen has been denied their constitutional rights. That's it. That's it. Today's Supreme Court has lost sight of what their objective was here. And former Justice Ginsburg, I think, was the start of that by her weighing into politics. That's not the function of a Supreme Court justice. Now, on March 29th, the FDA authorized the second Pfizer or Moderna booster shot for people over 50 or the immune compromised. Since then, we've had more boosters. And since then, a lot of people lost their job over whether or not they're going to be immunized. My thought process on this is take the jab or don't take it. I don't care. That may seem like a very harsh outlook. And before you start flaming me and calling Dick to have me thrown off the air, yes, I have lost family members to COVID. Either take the jab or don't take the jab. I don't think that it should be decided for you. And I don't think that you should be punished if you choose not to. So on March 29th, President Joe Biden signs the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act into law, making lynching a federal hate crime after over 200 attempts to pass similar legislation since the 1900s failed. When I heard this, I was confused. Why am I confused? Why am I just finding out now that it used to be legal to hang people? Does anybody out there honestly believe that you could actually hang someone? No. This bill said that if you do that, if you hang somebody, that it's going to now be considered a hate crime. newsflash, if you're hanging somebody, I'm pretty much assured that you don't like them that much. But that's just me. Then came April. April. April 19th, inflation hits 8.5%, the highest since 1981. And it was driven by a price raise in gas prices, rent, and food. Uncle Joe went on the air to tell you that this is Putin's price hike. And it's a Putin tax. That's where the inflation came from. It's from Putin and the war in the Ukraine. Reasonably thinking people said, okay, we'll buy it off on that. And that it was only transitory. Now you're sitting back going, damn, that just ain't true. This poses the question about how did that rise in interest rates and releasing 1 million gallons of gas from the strategic reserve work out for y'all? Got more money now, right? Yeah, right. Me too. On April 25th, Twitter announces a deal to sell itself to Elon Musk for $44 billion for Twitter. Love him or hate him, Elon Musk is a smart businessman. Love him or hate him, he owns Twitter. And he and his investors can do whatever the hell he wants. Twitter doesn't belong to you. Facebook does not belong to you. Instagram does not belong to you. These are private companies. Your influence on them begins and stops on whether or not you use that platform. So all y'all out there that are up in arms over this, chill out. It's only Twitter. Trust me, some of you out there shouldn't even be tweeting at all. Your question to me is, do you have a Twitter account? Veterans Air does not have a Twitter account. I have a Twitter account, and if you can find it, you'll find really, really great photos there. Now, on April 27th, SpaceX launches its Crew Dragon capsule with 4 astronauts, including Jessica Watkins, who becomes the first black woman to serve extended missions on the International Space Station. Private rocket, private held company is sending our astronauts to the International Space Station. Wow. Just wow. It makes my heart swell with pride on the ingenuity of the American spirit to build a rocket ship to do this. What used to be the bailiwick of NASA alone and state-run agencies alone thought to have the ability to send humans into space, to the moon or even further, has now morphed into private industry performing better than what NASA has ever performed. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Now, SpaceX is not the only private enterprise that has a rocket ship. Jeff Bezos has a rocket. He built a rocket ship too, but he only puts the tip in. That just went right over your head, didn't it, Dick? I'll show you a picture of his rocket ship. The rest of you veterans out there, you got that. Now, May 2nd, the U.S. Supreme Court drafts an opinion about Roe versus Wade being overturned. And that leaked opinion was published on the website Politico. That caused a lot of problems, a lot of demonstrations. And I would just like to go on the record and say, people, have you lost your ever-loving mind? It is illegal to protest in front of the homes of judges and justices, because that's intimidation. And just because the particular state's attorney general and police were too mealy-mouthed to stop you doesn't mean you have that right. Every single person that went out and protested in front of these judges' homes, y'all wrong and y'all should be arrested. And you know what? While you're at it, you should be arrested for sedation. Here's one of my favorite ones on May 3rd. U.S. government says the WNBA player Brittany Griner has been wrongfully detained in Russia after being taken into custody when drugs were found in her luggage. Brittany, welcome home, though you don't deserve it. You wanted America to come to your rescue after you screwed up. Yes, you screwed up. Own it. Go watch Forrest Gump. You'll learn stupid is as stupid does. You should not have brought in illegal substances into Russia. You've been playing in Russia for how many years? You didn't know this? You're not special. Federal Reserve on May 4th makes the largest interest rate since 2000. At 0.5%, attempting to combat the fastest rate of inflation in 4 decades. Take that, America. 0.5 point more interest. I'm not going to say this, Dick, just for you, because I like this radio station, but my next remark would probably get us in trouble. You can read that remark on the transcripts, by the way. On May 5th, and I am going to mispronounce her name, no disrespect intended. Karine Jean-Pierre was appointed the White House press secretary to President Joe Biden, making her the first black and LGBTQ person in that role. Apparently, the qualifications are, for that position, that she can lie for Uncle Joe with a straight face. Have you watched her? She's like fantastic. Everybody else could not lie as convincingly as she can. Even, what's the governor's daughter, Sanders, is that her name? Even when Sanders was the press secretary, and she was really good, I think Jean-Pierre lies better than Sanders did. May 18th. An 18-year-old gunman kills 10 people and wounds 3 at a top supermarket in East Buffalo, New York, in a racially motivated attack. All I can say is senseless. Just senseless. May 18th. Amid a nationwide U.S. baby formula shortage, President Joe Biden invokes the Defense Production Act, requiring suppliers to fulfill orders of baby formula first. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This isn't a hard idea. Feed the babies, they're hungry. Why do we have only one manufacturer producing 90% of the baby formula in this country? Why did the EPA, the FDA, the federal government shut down this plant so baby formula couldn't be made? This was a problem that was created by stupidity in our federal government. Every single one of you mamas who are out there doing what you could do to find formula for your baby, y'all should be up in arms. Y'all the ones that should be protesting. It was a sad day, May 23rd of last year. On May 23rd of last year, New York City removed the last public payphones in Midtown Manhattan. They now will become a part of a museum display. Repercussions. Has anybody thought of the repercussions of this? Is it just me, or does anyone else see a correlation between this and the rise in crime in New York City? I mean, where the hell is Superman going to change? You've taken away all the public telephone booths. No Superman, greater crime. Cause and effect is all I'm saying here. Brings us to the middle of the year, June of 2022. The WHO, not the WHO, but the World Health Organization, says monkeypox, now found in 27 countries, where not already epidemic. I'm going to just say that over again. WHO says monkeypox, now found in 27 countries, were not already epidemic portions. 780 in the last 3 weeks. Access to global risk is moderate, says the WHO. I'm not judging. But first we had AIDS that came from some guy doing it with a monkey in Africa. Then COVID from a bat in China, and now monkeypox. I don't know who you are, but stop whatever you're doing with animals, you perverts. On June 9th, the first public hearings for the United States House Select Committee on the January 6th attacks were held in Washington. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Was it a failed coup? No, it was not. All those people there, and not one of them knew how to topple a government. So it wasn't a failed coup. Who was the leader of this? The guy standing for selfies with Pelosi's podium? The guy in the buffalo hat? Come on, people. This wasn't a coup. It wasn't sedition. This was people pissed off. Can I say that on the air? Too late now. June 13th. A Google engineer claims one of its AI systems, Lambda, by the way, might have sentient mind. This caused the company to place him on leave. AI Lambda becomes sentient. When the Cylons take over, when they take charge of humanity and enslave us, the charge will be led by ATMs and smartphones. I, for one, am personally against AI. On June 23rd, the U.S. Supreme Court declares for the first time that there is a constitutional right to carry a handgun in public for self-defense, striking down a century-old gun law in New York that limited licenses. You're all expecting me to say something here, aren't you? But I'm not. June 24th, U.S. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, eliminating constitutional right for abortion in a 6-3 vote. I'm going to say something about this. Get an abortion or don't. It's your choice. I don't want to be involved. For your information, abortion was never a constitutional right. It was a decision by the Supreme Court that was never codified. You want to be pissed off at somebody? Go be pissed off at every single one of your congressmen, and senators for failing to do their job to codify abortions as a law. On June 25th, President Biden signs the Bipartisan Safer Community Act into law, creating greater background checks for gun purchases, funding for mental health programs, and closure of some existing seller loopholes. Have you read this law? I have. Of course I have. This law does nothing to stop gun violence. Nothing. All this law does is place more restrictions on responsible gun owners. You haven't seen me go shoot anybody yet, right? I'm a responsible gun owner. You know what? We're 30 minutes in. Right, Dick? Let's take a break. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to wet my whistle. I want you to hear from our sponsor, United Healthcare, and the wonderful work that they're doing for us. We'll be right back.
Medicare can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Andrea Corpening, and I am an agent authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company. I can guide my clients through understanding Medicare coverage options and help them discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice. I can be reached at 281-773-6239. That's Andrea Corpening at 281-773-6239. I can help those find a plan with confidence.
Welcome back to Veterans Air. So, this brings us to August because nothing happened in July. On August the 3rd, cells from recently dead pigs were brought back to life by researchers at Yale University with huge implications for organ transplant, stroke sufferers, as well as an ethical question over the definition of death. All I have to say is, life! Give my creation life! Oh, sorry. Wrong movie. Frau Blucher. On August 4th of last year, my wife turned 57 or 59, depending on who you're asking, either me or her. I think that's momentous. On August 8th, the FBI conducted a search of former U.S. President Donald Trump's Florida home at Mar-a-Lago over his handling of classified government documents. Well, now that we have this anti-lynching law, they can't lynch him on the south lawn of the White House, so they had to find something else to do. So they weaponized the FBI, which has changed their acronym from FBI to mean Federal Bureau of Intimidation. Good job, boys. On August 16th, President Joe Biden signs the Inflation Reduction Act into law with $370 billion in spending and tax cuts to combat climate change. And as he said, and it won't cost you a dime. August 18th is my 38th wedding anniversary. You all know what marriage is, right? Marriage is all about finding that one special person you want to spend the rest of your life annoying. And I found my wife. I laughed when I heard this. On August 25th, California votes to ban the sale of all new gasoline-powered cars by 2023. Good luck with that. You know why we don't have electric 18-wheelers? Do you know why we don't? Torque. All I can say is I hope by 2035 they figure that problem out. September 1st, Joe Biden warns of threats to democracy from MAGA Republican extremes in primetime address in front of Philadelphia's Independence Hall. President Biden warned of threats to democracy by MAGA Republicans. Let that sink in. Uncle Joe just declared that Republicans are a threat to democracy. Well, it's a good thing that the United States of America is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Uncle Joe is supposed to bring us together. Uncle Joe is pulling us apart. December 7th, discovery of the earliest evidence of surgery from a 31,000-year-old skeleton with an amputated lower leg was found in a cave in East Kalimantan, Borneo. This came from Nature magazine. Also discovered at the same time was the denial of benefit letters from the VA and a bill for the anesthesiologist because he was out of network. Come on, that was funny. It really was. September 8th, Queen Elizabeth II dies at Balmoral Castle after ruling for 70 years. It's the UK's longest-serving monarch. Her eldest son inherits the throne as King Charles III. God save the king. On the 14th of September, Governor Ron DeSantis sent 2 planes of Venezuelan immigrants to Martha's Vineyards as a political ploy. All I have to say is Ron never sent me to Martha's Vineyards. October 4th, American country singer-songwriter Louette. Can't believe I just blanked on her name. And she wrote the Coal Miner's Daughter, Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man. She was the first lady of country music, and she will be missed. On October 27th, Elon Musk takes ownership and control of Twitter and immediately fires 4 executives. Twitter now runs on electric batteries. The supplier is China. A hammer-wielding intruder on October 28th attacks Paul Pelosi, an 82-year-old man and husband of the Speaker of the House, in their California home. Clearly, he was an undocumented Canadian right-wing domestic terrorist from Canada. That's what they reported. I'm not making this up, guys. October 31st, Taylor Swift becomes the first artist in history to claim all top slots in the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart, all tracks from her album Midnight. Congratulations, Taylor Swift, but there's no hope left for the human society, and I'm throwing my support behind the Cylon Uprising. November 2nd, Federal Reserve hikes interest rates for the 4th straight time to a range between 3.75 and 4%, its highest since 2008, in an effort to fight ongoing inflation. If it wasn't for inflation and massive debt, no one would know who Jerome H. Powell is. You guys are doing wonderful work over there at the Fed. Keep it up. That's sarcasm if you didn't recognize it. November 10th, Afghan's ruling Taliban bans women from using public parks and fairs. Told you so. November 11th, Columbia Records releases Bruce Springsteen's 21st studio album, Only the Strong Survive, his covers from America's 60s and 70s rhythm and blues and soul songs. Bruce, baby, why you hating so much? Chill out. November 14th, President Biden and Chinese President Xi meet in person for the first time as national leaders at the G20 meeting in Bali, Indonesia. President Xi was overheard saying, "They elected you what?" November 15th, former U.S. President Donald Trump announces he's running for presidency in 2024. Despite many candidates he promoted failing to win elections in the U.S. midterms. You know, let me say this about former President Trump. He's really good, the greatest. All other Donald Trumps, they're disasters. Everyone's saying this. He's really, really, really good. That didn't come over as well as it did in my mind. 2 seconds or 2 minutes? I got 2 minutes left. Well, you know what? I'll let you figure out what the hell happened in December. No. I'm going to say this. December 8th, American basketball star Brittany Griner is released by Russian authorities in a prisoner exchange for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. Griner was detained on drug smuggling charges since February 2022. We traded the Merchant of Death for Brittany Griner. Something ain't right somewhere. So, you know what? I need to give a shout out to my benefactor here, East Meets West Productions, who has been serving veterans, helping them start and fund their businesses for over 30 years. For more information about them, give them a call at 361-904-0044. I want to let you know that coming next month, February 23rd, the VFW is presenting the Red, White, and Boots Gala, and you can contact the VFW for more information. I'll probably be there. I leave you this month, as I do every month, with the Warrior Song by the Warrior Song Project. While we're listening to this, let us remember our police, firemen, first responders, and military in uniform that today are standing in harm's way to stand for our freedoms and for our liberties. If you are wearing the uniform, I want to say to you, I'm proud of you. I want to say thank you. And until next month, stay safe and stay vigilant.
Machine with a need to bleed you when the light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone to be. From a yin to my yang to my yang to Z. Put a grin on my chin when you come to me. Cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind, and I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in a fire lit long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me old. I feed on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a warrior, this is my song.
I am
shoot the bastard. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder them